Lila, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
It's very impressive how you scale down such a huge topic as elections in the US to personal stories and the dilemmas of people. That is very, very impressive. And I tend to think a little bit of black and white about the elections, but it's much more gray in between. And that's what you showed very clearly. Yeah. Okay. I will get a mic. I already see a first question. I think the mic is already on. Karst, do we have audio? Yeah? I go to you. Go ahead.
Thank you for your introduction about America. What could Kamala Harris do to win the election in the 2 weeks they're coming? Trump is very aggressive. I think maybe there's not a question, do the Americans like aggressive people? And he's lying. So what could Kamala do?
Yeah, I think her road, there is a road to victory for her. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, this is America speak.
Yes, okay.
Sorry, it's like campaign speak. A lot of people are fed up with Donald Trump. And also a lot of Republicans who voted for him once, maybe twice, and they really do want change. It's also hard for them to change from Donald Trump to Kamala Harris. But people are fed up with him, and there is an opportunity for her to seize that group of voters. If I were in her campaign team, which is something you can never say as a journalist, but we are here, so let's do it. Go after him more aggressively. And you see her doing it a little bit. I mean, we're getting into the final stretch, the final 2 weeks of election. This is when you have to make your final pitch. It's a little what campaign strategists always talk about. This is where she's gonna have to be more aggressive on the way he treats democracy, specifically, and you see her do it. I think he did an interview and he was talking about using the military to fight the enemy within, quote unquote, left politicians, and she went hard on it. She has made campaign ads on it, so there's a road there. She has a big favorability from women. There's, at the highest point, there was a 30% difference between favorability from women towards Harris versus Trump, which is huge. So there's a road for her there. And she just has to make sure that people are gonna get out and vote, because she's gonna need the young people, and she's gonna have to make a bigger pitch than she is doing right now, which is hard because they want more progressive things than most of the moderate Democrats want that she wants. She's gonna have to work really, really hard. I see a bigger chance for Donald Trump now on many levels than for Kamala Harris. So she's gonna have to go out and go full, I think. But you know, if I really had the answer, I'd be very rich and in her campaign team. But I think those are chances for her.
Go ahead.
So, do you think that the fact that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris can have like a real effect on the election, or it doesn't really matter?
It's such a hard question.
Nice question.
We have no hard numbers to measure endorsements and the effect from one endorsement towards a real vote. So we don't really know. What we do know from psychology is that people are more likely, when in doubt, our brain takes little shortcuts. And one of the shortcuts is we look at people that look like us or that we admire to help us make a decision. So that, from psychology, is one of the theories behind all those endorsements. So that's one thing. And it will probably push a couple of people, but I'm not sure how heavy to measure that. The other thing is, it's a lot of media attention. And she has a huge reach. And she reaches people that the campaign doesn't really reach. So every time a voter is confronted with somebody they admire or like, and they're talking about the elections, it's not a bad thing. So it won't tick them off. Will it tip them over? It's a big question, but campaigns use it a lot. The hard thing about your question is we don't really have hard numbers to prove it. We have theories, scientific theories, and she has a great reach. So my personal opinion is, yes, it makes a difference. How big is that difference? Your guess is as good as mine.
Thanks.
In an election campaign, is it more important to convince undecided voters or to get out your own voter base?
Both. So it's both very important. If you don't get out your own voter base and just get the undecided, then you're going to lose it. But you're going to need both, and you're going to need just a little more of the undecided than your opponent, which seems like an open door, but it's a lot of hard work, and they both really, really, really matter. And that's why you see the candidates sort of grasp into all kinds of undecided voters. Black men, black women, Hispanics, the young vote, people who haven't come out to vote in a while. They all matter.
In following up on this question, could you say something about rhetorical styles of both candidates? Trump is very rude. He has rude one-liners. He has a lot of lies who seem to be attracting his audience. How do they convince their audiences? They're very broad audiences. What's
Well,
kind
there's
of
different messages for everyone.
Yes.
But when you look broadly at rhetorical style, Trump is way more convincing than Harris.
Yes.
He's to the point, he uses short sentences, he uses words that people understand, he gets to the point very quickly. He is one of the best campaigners ever, period. He's
Yes.
really good at what he does.
I was afraid of that already. Yes.
Yeah, he's a very good salesman.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
what he is. It's what he's done all his life. He
Yeah.
gets it. His political sense is good. He's really good at this.
Yeah.
Harris's style is more broadly. She doesn't get to the point very quickly. She uses long sentences. She uses concepts, which might be a great quality, but not as a campaigner. So when it comes to the words and the style, and people's attention span is pretty small. Not everybody wants to pay a lot of attention. Maybe they do want to vote.
Yeah.
He is way more effective than she
Yes.
is.
Oops. Yeah, I was afraid of that already.
Yes. So from your presentation, I get that the binary political system causes more doubt maybe than clarity. And I was thinking, is there any sign that this might change anytime or any discussion about it?
Ooh, yeah.
Thank you.
One of my favorite questions.
Yeah, the binary
No,
system.
because it matters. It's just a lot of Americans that I speak to want something else. They want a third party, or they want to change in a system where, for example, it's not winner take all in a state, but the electoral votes are like the popular vote. So there's a longing with many voters for a change. One of the hurdles there, or the problem, is that it's not in the better interest of either one of the political parties to do so. And usually it's the party who is in charge who has to change the rules. So they're going to have to go against their personal interests. What you see, and what I find very interesting, is that in states where Americans have the power to put something on the ballot, so like a referendum, you see small democratic change happening. Michigan is an example. There used to be gerrymandering where the party in power can draw districts, and they always draw it in their own favor.
Maybe does everyone know what gerrymandering is? No? Could you? It's something with the district lines and the postal codes and.
You have districts like you have provincies in the Netherlands. Every 10 years there's a vote count. The party in power can draw the lines of a district, and they will do it in their own favor. So let's say you're a Democrat, because both of them do it. You're a Democrat, there's a Republican county that always wins, and you want to mess them up. You just draw the lines differently, divide them into 5 counties, and so they can't win. That's the concept of gerrymandering. It's very anti-democratic, and everybody knows it. But it's the law, so people do it. Both parties do it. In Michigan, people were fed up with that, so they started a referendum, got it on the ballot, and Michiganders voted against gerrymandering and against drawing the districts from politicians, and now they have a People's Commission doing it. But a lot of the democratic change is coming from the ground up, and it has to come from the ground up because that's where the stakes are at, and for the political parties, they're sometimes just too big to break. So it's going to take forever, it's going to take a while. I think Donald Trump had the chance in 2016 to start his own party. He didn't do it, he went for the Republicans. But there's this magic moment in politics when it's the moment, the person, the something, all the stars have to align for something to really break. JFK had a chance as an independent when Biden was still in the race, but it's one of the most important questions. It's one of the big issues. Is American democracy, the system as it is right now, is it gonna last? I think it's gonna have to change, and it's gonna take a really long time. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna live through it.
Maybe you do. Trump, I had a discussion with an American, and we discussed the almost killing of Trump. He was shot and the bullet nearly missed. Suppose the bullet hit Trump. Trump was dead. How important is his person? Because the American guy I talked to said, well, there will pop up 5 more Trumps. It's symptomatic for America right now. So it's not particularly Trump. There will be other Trump. Do you agree, or do you think Trump is very special? And
I think both are true.
yes, okay.
Trump is Trump. There's only one Donald Trump.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So there's something about his personality and about his appeal. But he has fundamentally awoken something, or woke weird
Woke
words.
something up? Or
Yeah, he's because people say he fundamentally changed the Republican Party. I'm not sure about that. He gave room to something that was already there.
Yes.
Whether you want to call it Trumpism or MAGA or whatever, his political philosophy is so much bigger than he is.
Yes.
So much bigger.
Yes,
So if Trump, there is going to be a time after Donald Trump, but I think in spirit, he is fundamentally there.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much bluff is there in his? For instance, NATO. We will leave
Look,
NATO.
I don't think he's
Is
going to
it-
withdraw from NATO, but I do think he has a couple of laid-back scenarios. It's not like I think he's going to skip a lot of meetings. For example, he's going to go more laid back. There are a couple of reports from people who influence him. We have like scenarios A and B countries within NATO. He's going to push more on the financial responsibility because not all countries have lived up to the 2.4%. I don't think he's going to withdraw from NATO. I think the U.S. is going to have a very different role within NATO.
Yes, yeah.
There is a big chance that there's going to be a very big cut on funding for Ukraine. I mean, Congress has the responsibility in the end, so he cannot stop it himself. So there's that.
I go to the next question, asking a sub-question. How much worried are you about getting 2 Americas after these elections? Because it's neck to neck, is that an English expression, 50-50?
I mean, not more or less than it is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we just take this as a mark, right? Another
okay.
election, it's another day to say how divided America is.
Yes.
It's just the same as it was yesterday and tomorrow. I mean, the emotions are running higher. It's one of those moments.
Yes.
There's also a lot of things that Americans agree on.
Oh.
2/3 of Americans think that abortion should be possible up until a certain level. 2/3 of Americans think that there needs to be a transition towards natural energy. It's just the speed, the way we do it, the way we finance it, the way we get there. And there's a lot of things that Americans agree on. It's just not what pays off politically.
Yeah. We come to the climate issue in a moment, but first...
I'm worried about the stability after the elections. If Trump wins, how dangerous is he in fact? He's a very aggressive man and he stormed the Senate before. What will he do when he wins? There's an organization set up to
When he wins or when he loses?
prepare for his victory.
Yeah.
When he to take over the
Yeah.
whole system and destabilize the complete
Yes,
American
But
democracy.
what's
Yeah,
more
you-
dangerous?
Will
when
he
he-
kill the democracy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are referring to Project 2025, I assume, right? Okay, so the question is what is Trump going to do when he's president, and how dangerous is that for democracy? There is a plan that's called Project 2025 that's been written by a bunch of think tanks, more conservative think tanks, and it's kind of a manual/wish list from conservative America for a Trump government. And a bunch of things in there are interesting, concerning, such as firing a bunch of civil servants and replacing them with people who are more loyal to Trump. This is something that always happens with a presidency, but the recruitment process includes questions like, if you don't, can you agree to something that you don't agree to? So it's very much based on how loyal you are. It is putting the Department of Justice under the direct responsibility of a president. Those are things that are not what it's kind of the end, in a way, of the trias politica. So that is a definite break with some of the more traditional democratic ideas. The problem with Project 2025 is it's out there. It's written by a bunch of people who used to work for Trump, who he knows. The founder of this project was a speaker at the RNC, so the Republican National Committee. So there's a lot of ties there. Trump has diverted himself from it. There are, I think, I lost the exact count, but correct me if I'm wrong, there's about 237 plans that are copied, that are exactly the same between Trump's 47 project, so his presidency, and Project 2025. So there's a lot of overlap, although Trump likes to say he is not involved and he doesn't, it's not his thing. A bunch of those plans are, in my view, not where we want to go, and anti-democratic, and it gives the president a lot more power than it used to be. And this is kind of what the founding fathers were fearful of, or at least a bunch of them, that there was going to be a king who was going to reign. And that is sort of where it creeps up to just a little bit too much.
Oops. Yes. Okay. And what?
Does it answer your question?
And what if?
To look ahead.
And what?
It is difficult to look at, yeah.
And what might happen if Trump doesn't win? Do we get another capital?
Oh, then we're going to get a
Yes.
whole bunch of hellscape.
Yes, I'm afraid. Yes.
Yes, if he doesn't win, he's already said that he will not concede and will not accept. There's already
Yes.
90 lawsuits have been filed or have been set up to file to appeal the outcome of the elections. So everything has been set into place to fight the outcome of the elections.
Incredible.
In Georgia, Georgia was famous in 2020 because it was only 11,699 votes that made the difference, and he made this famous phone call to the Secretary of State, Ravensbrück, saying, I just need 11,699 votes. So Georgia's very, very tight. The election board has been switched, so now there are 3 Republican, very conservative people on the election board and 2 Democrats. So the Republicans have really, over the last 4 years, made a project out of it to make sure that conservatives are in the places where the decisions are being made, lawsuits are being set into place. Trump just won lost a lawsuit, or the conservative lost a lawsuit in Georgia, where the idea was that all the counts had to be recounted manually, which is a crazy idea because those things are like very big, and there was a strategy of delay, and if you don't get it done in time, then Congress decides who the president is going to be. So there's a lot of things being set up in case Donald Trump wins to fight the laws, and you see him campaign on the promise, too big to rig. So they're just trying to get to your question as well, as many people out to vote and to vote early, because the idea is if we just are there with so many people, then it's just too big to rig. That's the frame that they use. So if he is going to lose, it's going to be a really long time until January 20th.
We have now Israel, we have Gaza. Americans, they send bombs, a lot of bombs to Israel. And Netanyahu can do what he wants, and nobody stops him. And now the elections are there, and America does nothing. They're saying nothing to stop Netanyahu maybe after 5th of November. Why is that? Is the IPEC so strong in America that they can do that?
It's strategic. Israel is the position for it. It's what they need to have a position in the region.
Yes.
It's a very geopolitical, strategic situation.
Laila, thank you for sharing all your knowledge and for making an abstract thing like politics, a big thing, so personal and touchable and full of dilemmas. I think that's it's also in your podcast. It's called
Welcome in Washington.
Welcome in Washington. Welcome in Washington. The podcast is full of these kinds of stories and dilemmas of Americans who want to do something and don't know what to do. The 5th of November, it's 2 weeks from now, I think.
2 weeks, one day.
That's a very, very exciting 2 weeks, one day. We will watch the television, and you will be on television anyway.
And we probably won't even know it until November 7th or 8th.
No,
So you can just go to bed on November 5th, sleep, chill night.
Yeah. I want a very big hand for Laila Frank. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.